Evening. Hopefully, all is well. Oh, shiny face today. Good evening. If you have been following along with us, you would know that we have been going through the ABCs of mental health. And so, A was for attachment, B was for burnout, C was for codependency, D was for depression, E was for emotional regulation, F was for forgiveness, and H. Did y'all see me just had I'm a little older than people think I am. I just had a moment. H is going to be for hope. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about hope, hopelessness, what is the psychology of hope, why it is important for your mental health. And we have been talking about some pretty heavy topics. So hope is one that hopefully is more lighthearted, more bright, as we discuss the ABCs of mental health. So hope, right? It is hope. The Bible says it's hope. Okay, it's a good, it is the desire for things to flourish, desire for things to get better. And so the psychology of hope, it is there a belief that the future can be better, and not only can it be better, that you have some stake, you have some say, you have some will in making it be better, right? You have some buy-in in making life better, right? So there's a theory called Snyder's hope theory, and it includes goal setting, right? What are you aiming for? Agency, meaning the belief that you can act. So hopelessness is about the inability to be able to act, the inability to effectuate change, the inability to move forward based on the way that you're thinking. But having a psychology of hope, or having hopefulness, means you believe that you can actually impact your circumstances by changing some behaviors, doing some things, taking some corrective action, or just action in general, right? And number three, it's pathways, your ability to seek and find ways forward in spite of your external situation or external circumstances. So again, that is Snyder's hope theory, right? Snyder's hope theory. So that's the psychology of hope, because oftentimes hopelessness is used to diagnose some major mood disorders, specifically depression. So, again, it is important to have hope. Reminder, hope is not just a feeling, it's a mindset that fuels resilience, okay? So, why does hopelessness matter? When hope disappears, when hope dissipates, when hope evaporates, people tend to feel emotionally numb, right? They might feel stuck, they might feel powerless against their circumstances and against the things that are happening to them. So hopelessness makes you feel like your future doesn't matter. Like no matter what you do, you're going to be stuck in one position. And that often leads to withdrawal, right? Rumination and deep levels of despair. Neurologically, hopelessness lowers dopamine and it disrupts your motivation, right? Good afternoon to the one in the chat. It's the Art of the Clown. We'll see. Listen and see if this can help you, okay? So, why is hopelessness a symptom of depression? Hopelessness is a core marker of depression because it signals an emotional shutdown. It signals your neurological ability and it just shuts down. Hopelessness can also predict suicidal ideation or thoughts, and it makes healing from that depressive symptom and feel like it's impossible, even though it's not, right? It's always included as a determining factor in one being diagnosed with depressive disorder. Any of those depressive disorders, which we talked about a couple of days ago, it includes especially for MDD, or major depressive disorder, because it shows how trapped a person feels emotionally, and it shows how overwhelmed they might feel. Okay, so why is hope essential for healing and wholeness? Hope is not optional, it's foundational to recovery. It helps people see that change is indeed possible, right? It helps you to take small steps towards healing. It helps you rebuild trust and faith in God and yourself. And in therapy, especially Christian therapy, it helps you to name small goals, reframe lies into truth, and reconnect with any purposes and promises you might have for yourself. Okay? So if you're new to the channel, you're new to the chat, this is something I generally will do. I will give a talking point, chat a little bit, and then I will give you a practical tip. A reminder, this is a Christian channel, so you're going to get Christian type tips. If that's not your thing, you can omit them, but that's this channel, so that's what I'm going to say. So number one, hope is a spiritual lifeline, not just an emotion. Okay, so hope is the anchor of our soul. You can find that in Hebrews chapter 6. Hope does not require you to deny your pain. So if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling pressured, if you're feeling under that depression, right? Hope doesn't mean you deny that. It means that you defy it, right? You defy the despair. You choose to think of it another way, okay? Hi, Elevated. Welcome to the live. I'm glad you made it tonight. All right, so again, I'm going to say this. Hope isn't just a feeling. It's a mindset that fuels resistance. It is not imaginary things. It is actually deciding, right, to move forward. It's deciding to have hope. It's not just an emotion, because emotions come and go and we can't really dictate them. We can process them, but we can't really control them. So we can manage them, but again, we can't control them. It is a decision, right? So here's the hope building tip. You can do a morning anchor declaration. So each morning you can say something aloud like, today I am anchored in the unchanging hand of God. Let your voice, right? Let what you're saying, let what you're articulating with your mouth lead you back to the truth of the matter, because there is hope. Right? There is hope. You have to decide and believe that there is hope. So you can do that every morning. You can make a declaration. And it doesn't have to be exactly those words, but it's something to bring you to center and bring you to realization that the pain that you feel, the despair that you feel, the hopelessness that may be creeping in on you it does not have to control your life. You can decide to speak something else. You can decide to speak hope in those moments, okay? Number two, hope does not eliminate grief. Okay, we talked a lot about grief last night, right? We talked about grief, and I don't ever want people to think that they cannot grieve or they are not allowed to have that grief process. So hope doesn't eliminate grief, but it redefines it, right? So hope doesn't silence sorrow, it puts it into context. We can grieve and still have hope, right? We can grieve and still know that that pain while it might be persistent, the Bible says weeping may endure for a night. While it might be persistent, while it might last longer than we desire, it's not permanent. It's not a permanent state of being, right? You can look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 4:13 for that reference, okay? So here's the hope building tip: grief and grace, okay? I talk a lot about journaling on this channel. Right? But you can dual journal, meaning take the truth of what you're feeling right now and also write the hope that you're feeling right now, because two things can be true at the same time. All right? Hello, Kaden. All right. So you can write something like, what am I grieving today? And where do I see grace today? And this helps you hold both of those things at once, the same time. It holds them together and balances them, so you're not overwhelmed with any one feeling. You're not overwhelmed with any one thing. You're allowing the hope, right? The grief, the grace, the hope together. Okay? All right, number three, hope grows in the dark, right? So seeds don't grow in sunlight alone. They start in darkness. Most seeds, if you plant, I'm a gardener. Some of you guys have seen my garden because I've done that on videos. A lot of seeds need the dark first in order to be able to germinate. Some of them need light, a little bit of light, but most of them, you bury them and they find the light, right? Likewise, God often cultivates our deepest growth in hidden, dark, secret places. So understand that just because you are in a season where it might be hard, it might be difficult, it might be tough, it can also bring about a place of transformation, a place of light. And theologians will call that the dark night of the soul. All right? Okay. So, hope building tip: keep a God is growing in me note. Write a note to yourself. A lot of times, especially when you're trying to do goal setting, right? You can write down the goal as you're working your way to it. So, one way is you can write this goal. How is this pain that I'm feeling, this situation that I'm feeling, this hopelessness that I'm feeling? How is it shaping me? How am I learning in this process? Review it and look at your progress, because again, part of the trick of hopelessness is feeling like you're always going to feel that way. It's feeling like it's always going to be pain, it's always going to be sadness, it's always going to be despair. And sometimes having that journal, writing it down, and being able to process it later helps you see, oh, there was growth, there was change, there was movement in this situation. Okay. Number 4, hope is fueled. Hope is fueled by remembrance. Being able to remember things, right? The fastest way to reignite hope is to remember all the times that you have gotten out of such places before, all the times where you have thought positively before. If there was an experience where you felt like you were crushed, right? If you can think back, some of us have had a heartbreak, right? You had a relationship that you really thought was going to work out. You really thought this was the one, and they broke your heart. But that wasn't your only relationship, right? You've had relationships and recovered. So sometimes remembering how you came out of something, how you were in pain, how you were struggling, how you were in despair or despondency or depression, right? Remembering that, then being able to say, no, but I came out of that. Right? I came out of that. I'm not there today. Having that remembrance can help you in the midst of the next season where you're feeling alone, or you're feeling hurt, or you're feeling distressed emotionally. Okay? Your past deliverances can help you as receipts of God's faithfulness and his care unto you. Okay? So here's a hope building tip: create a God came through timeline. In the ancient Hebrew text, there's always there are several instances where God is telling his people, hey, make a memorial here, write this down, make a statue, a tablet here, do something to commemorate, name this place, right? Because it is important for us to be able to go back to those times and remember, oh, God delivered me. Oh, God helped me out. Oh, there was a way made out of no way. So you can draw a timeline of your life and mark the moments where you can see where God showed up, right? And look back at those moments when you feel like you've been forgotten, when you feel like you've been abandoned, when you feel like you've been rejected, when you feel like you're isolated and utterly alone, when you feel that hopelessness coming upon you. Look back at those moments, because that will give you what? Hope. It will foster hope. It will foster connection. It will foster that spring of life coming back into your spiritual and emotional space. Okay. And I do see you, Kaden. You don't need to send me no money. I'm good, thank you. Okay, number 5, hope is contagious in community. So when you don't have hope, borrow someone else's. Okay? When you don't have hope, borrow someone else's. That means get into community. That means get with people who are going to encourage you. Get with people who are going to push you to see the positive, to see the good. Sometimes the first thing that we do when we feel despair, when we feel depressed, when we feel low, when we feel all the sadness, we immediately go to isolation. And that isolation can breed, it can be a breeding ground for hopelessness. It can be a breed, it's almost like you just sit in the sadness, right? And so one way to kind of build an exit out of that place is to get into community, get into fellowship, get into those places and spaces. Good evening, Anthony and Ramon. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about hope. The H is for hope. So, here we are. And we are on number 5. So hope is contagious in community, right? When you don't have hope, borrow someone else's, and recognize that when you are tempted to isolate, and sit in the sadness, sit in the despair, sit in the depression. Try to do the antithesis of that isolation and get around some person that will encourage you, that will fawn over you, that will be like, no, I'm allow you to feel your feelings, but we can't sit here, we can't get stuck here in the hopelessness, okay? You can form a hope tech circle, right? Ask one or two, not everybody, because I said this before. You don't have to dance with everybody, but you should dance with somebody. Meaning, I am not an advocate of telling unsafe folks, unsafe people, your personal inside journey, because that's not always safe, right? No, what I am advocating is find a trusted individual, friend, family member, right? Clergy, whomever that is going to be able to give you a positive response and say, okay, this I'm going to text you. We're going to text each other something hope filled. We're going to text each other once a week an affirmation. Rotate who sends it so that sometimes it falls on them and sometimes it falls on you, and that helps to keep that hope alive, that kind of flame lit that everybody is pouring into each other. Okay. Number 6, hope reawakens the numb heart. Hope reawakens the numb heart. Numbness does not mean that you've lost hope. Sometimes, and I've said this often in sessions, where people will say, I just feel numb. The recognition of numbness is actually a good thing, because how do you know that a body part is numb? Right? If I'm sitting here for a really, really long time and what they say is my foot goes to sleep, it went numb, right? I know that it went numb because I know I should feel a thing in that area. So when you can identify that there is numbness in an area, that usually means that you know that there should be a feeling that you haven't accessed. You haven't been able to tap into that particular feeling. So understand that sometimes when our heart becomes numb, right, it's become encapsulated or hardened or shielded to the point where it no longer feels. You can identify hope as a way to start feeling again, right? Because we know we're not supposed to be ice cold all the time and not able to feel, because the only things that don't have feelings are inanimate objects. Even they've done studies that say even plants feel. Isn't that wild that plants feel? So again, anything the talking point there is hope reawakens the numb heart and can jostle you into feeling again. Okay, here's the hope building tip for this one. Do one life-giving activity weekly. Okay, whatever is life-giving to you, whether that's creating, whether that's community building, whether that's painting, walking in nature, cooking, baking, listening to music, right? Anything that once made you feel a thing, anything that got you out of that before you were in that numb state, do that and reintroduce joy through the lens. Now, I don't got no water, but I do have my coffee open. Because I feel like at least once every live, I gotta drink something. I gotta, and so, look all. I done had this cup for a really long time. It's clean, but it's looking kind of grimy. I promise, it's clean. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so number 7, hope is rooted in God's character, not your circumstances. Yes, so Anthony, I said do one life-giving activity weekly, right? So anything that brings you life. For me, excuse me, I am not a good artist, but one thing I love to do, when I say not a good, like I don't, my grandfather was he drew and he painted. My daughter does some drawing, and she doesn't like painting, but she can. My sons, they all draw. I was not blessed with the gift. That is not my ministry. But I love to doodle. I love to get a canvas and throw paint upon it, right? And just do that. Like it gives me joy because I know it doesn't have to be perfect. So sometimes perfectionists will find joy in things that don't have to be perfect. So for me, that's life-giving. My garden is life-giving. I when I'm stressed at work, I just walk out because I work from home primarily. I do go in the office sometimes, but I work from home primarily. I'll be like, look, they getting on my nerves, bro. They're getting on my nerves. I'll walk upstairs because my office is in the basement, and I'll go out to the back and I'll start fussing around in that dirt, and it gives me life. So try to do one life-giving activity weekly. It's very similar to self-care, but it's something that you find joy in, right? Something that makes you happy, that gives you that spark. It can be creating something, it can be making something with your hands, it can be dancing, like it can be anything, but giving that gives you life. All right. Number 7, hope is rooted in God's character, not your circumstances. Again, as a person of faith, I feel like biblical hope is different than like this magical hope or like just wishful thinking. It's a confident expectation in a faithful God. It is putting God's plans and purposes into action, into actualization. It is saying, no, I believe that God has a plan even for my pain. There's a popular preacher that I know that I'm acquainted with. Her name is Reverend Nikki Brown, and she said to me, like, your pain has to pay you back. And I thought that was so powerful. Like, if God is going to allow pain and discomfort, there in my theology, this might not be your theology, in my theology, there has to be a purpose, there has to be an outcome for that thing. Because if I look in the biblical text, every time somebody was hurt, ostracized, in pain, it was for something else, whether that was for the individual, right? If you look at Joseph's transformation through all the things he went through, if you look at David's transformation, all the things he went through, if you look at the preparation of Jesus and all the things he went through, like whatever biblical person, because I don't want to say characters because we're real people, you look at the pain and discomfort and frustration and despair that they went through had purpose. It was not purposeless, because I don't believe that God is a torturer. So he wouldn't, in my mind, again, it's my theology, it's my channel, right? He's not going to do something just to make me suffer if there's no positive outcome. It's just like a doctor does not do surgery first thing. Like if there is some intervention that can happen before they cut you, they're going to try that first. It's the least invasive thing that they're going to do first, okay? So if I know that the character of God is not to put me through something without having a definitive plan or purpose, I can hold on to that when I feel hopeless, right? That gives me hope when I feel hopeless, okay? Y'all know I get excited. Good evening, Monique. I hope that you are doing well, okay? And here's the hope building tip, right? Write out what you know of and what you have experienced of God in your life, okay? Each week, meditate on the names of God, whether that's Jehovah Jireh, he's been my provider, right? Jehovah Rapha, he's been my healer. Whatever positive experience you've had with your God, let that nature, right? Let his nature shape your expectations, right? That faithfulness shape your expectations, all right? Number 8, hope invites you to rest, not just react. I've been talking about rest a lot. I feel like every time I get on here, I talk about Sabbath and I talk about taking time for yourself. I talk about stop people pleasing. I talk about saying no, and I talk about rest, because we live in such a society, in such a culture, in such a hustle and bustle state. Like we're constantly so into production that we forget that we can rest. We can rest. Right? In a chaotic world, hope gives you permission to rest, trusting that God is working behind the scenes, even when you're resting, even when you're sleeping, even in those moments, right? Where you might feel distressed. God is working on your behalf, okay? And so the hope building tip is to practice Sabbath. And I am not talking about, oh, it's Sunday or it's Saturday, or I'm not talking about that. That's another argument for another time. I am talking about the art, the spiritual discipline of Sabbath, meaning take intentional, dedicated time to rest. To rest. To not do a thing. Just rest. Right? It could be a whole day. It could be a half a day. Whatever. It could be 50. I would suggest it be more than a pair of seconds. But give yourself some time to intentionally rest. Okay? Allow God to sustain all the other things and you just rest. And that can help foster hope. That can help foster hope. Okay? Number 9, hope looks like forward faith. Okay? Forward faith. Hope doesn't mean ignoring today's pain. It doesn't mean denying your present feeling. It doesn't mean, to create this fantasy world in your head. No, it means believing that tomorrow, no matter how bad today is, tomorrow still has promise. There's still promise in tomorrow. There's still hope in tomorrow. There's still an opportunity to get better on tomorrow. So it is having that faith in forward motion. It is looking forward to the hills to which cometh our help, right? It is looking to the joy that comes in the morning. It is looking forward to say that even though I might feel this way on today, I might feel this way right now, that does not mean this feeling is going to last forever, okay? It does not mean that I have to adhere to this pain because it is temporary. It is deciding that it is temporary, okay? So here's the hope building tip for that one. Write a vision letter to your future self. To your future self, the future you. And sometimes we'll do this. I remember a lot of times there was a season where people were writing letters to their younger self, right? Like, you 45 now, write a letter to your 25-year-old self. Like, what would you tell him or her? Like, what advice would you give him or her, right? As an act of kind of like inner child work or just processing early childhood trauma, processing those things. This is similar, but you are writing to your future self. You are looking forward and saying, hey, you next year, dear me, I am proud of how you are surviving all of the things that are happening to you. I am proud that you are moving forward. I am grateful that you didn't give up. So writing to your future self. And this can paint a picture of who you are becoming, right? Who you are deciding to become. Remember, we talked about that in the beginning, that actualization, that moving forward as a part of that hope, the psychology of hope, okay? And number 10, and I'm almost done, y'all. Number 10, Jesus is the embodied proof of our hope, okay? Jesus is the embodied proof of our hope. Hope isn't abstract. It isn't fantasy. It isn't made up. It isn't make-believe. It's a person, right? Jesus overcame the grave. He walks with us through our valleys, through our mountains, and resurrection is always the last word. Again, I know that that's not everybody's bag, but around here, that's what we talking about. So Jesus is the embodiment of our hope. Okay, a hope building tip I have for that one: meditate on resurrection scriptures. Because again, the cross was horrific. Death did occur, pain did occur, but yet there was a resurrection. Okay, so you can read things like 1 Peter 1 verse 3. 1 Peter 1 verse 3. Yes. Romans 15:13, John 11:25. You can read them out loud. You can get them into your process, into your daily affirmation, and that can help you. Okay? So that was all that I had for tonight. I thank you guys so much. Now, Mr. Ramon, are you still in here? Because Mr. Ramon said he wanted to hear me rap. He's still in here. Put a 1 in the chat if he in here. Because he said, I had put in somebody's chat that I was rapping. I used to rap many moons ago. And he said, I want to hear you rap tonight. And I said, sir, I ain't rapped since like 2000. And he was like, I wasn't even here yet. I hollered. He's what's the eyes elevated? What's the eyes mean? Mm? See, he didn't put a run. He must have rolled out. If he rolled out, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. He might have rolled out, and so y'all won't get to hear my raps. I don't see no one in the chat, so he must have dipped. Y'all tell him the next live y'all see that Danielle was gonna rap and you had dipped out early, because I think it's only Elevated and Monique in here. So I'm gonna save my little rap for next time. I thank y'all for joining me. I thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate y'all so much. No, he ain't here. He ain't here, Monique. He not here. He done missed it. I had something prepared upon my computer screen on tonight for Mr. Ramon, because he wanted to hear me rap. But enjoy the rest of it. Let me hurry up and get off here before he come back. Y'all have a blessed and amazing night. I thank you again for spending some time with me. So I'm gonna go through it one more time. A was for attachment, B was for burnout, C was for codependency, D was for depression, E was for emotional regulation, F was for forgiveness, G was for grief. Lord have mercy. And H was for her hope. So that's all. Yeah, I got all of them. Y'all have an amazing rest of your night. I will be here again tomorrow, somewhere between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, and we will see what the next letter is going to be. Y'all have an amazing night, and I will see you on the next live.